boom, like hit with the Holy Spirit. Like it was just like, oh no, oh no.
Why don't you go full time, Ian?
Yeah, right. And yet he still provides. Dude.
Session 2.
Session 2. We made it.
We made it.
Wow. Let's do it.
We're here.
How did you feel about episode 1?
Dude, it was phenomenal. I had so much fun doing it.
I had fun doing it.
It was a lot of fun. It felt very natural. That time because the conversation was just so raw.
We're just raw dogging that conversation.
We're just raw. Sure thing, bud.
Just kidding. This is not flowing good.
All right.
This is not
going to get canceled before we even start. Wow. All right, but we're here, dude.
Faith podcast, and he said raw dogging.
Oh my gosh! How dare you?
Oh hey.
Oh, didn't see you guys there.
Didn't see you there.
Oh, this is awkward.
Wow.
Man. Well, wow.
Welcome to the Faith Creative Podcast. This is episode 2. If you are here and you watched episode 1, okay, you were legends if you watched episode 1, but you're now an elite legend because you made it to episode 2. And next week, if you make it to episode 3, my only ask last week was that you watch that episode and this episode to get your feelings,
Yeah.
to see if this podcast was for you.
I feel like these are the first 2 episodes where you're really going to get a feel for kind of what we're trying to do here, what we're going to be talking about. And these first 2 episodes, you get to know us better. So last week, we got to dive a little bit into my story. And this week, we're going to be diving into Ian's story a little bit more. So
wow, what an honor.
Yeah, what a treat.
Last week, we spent the first 20 minutes just rambling on about random stuff.
Dude, I'm sure this will be very similar.
Yeah, the viewers are like, no,
stop them.
To be fair, it's our first episode. It's a little less structured, and I feel like in that first 20 minutes, you kind of got to know us a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun.
So,
it's fun. It's fun to have conversations. It's fun to just talk about something different. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. What are you drinking today?
Chocolate milk as usual.
Right.
So I actually
expected that.
Drank most of it before the pod started tonight, so I don't have too much.
That's good,
unfortunately.
Last week when I was editing that episode, I realized I was drinking, and you could hear the down my throat from the microphone. So I had to go in and every time you were talking and I was drinking, I had to cut in that audio and cut that out. Yeah, because I'm like, that's gross.
Shoot. Well, when you said that, I literally pointed it further down to make sure
I'll cut it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it as loud as I can now.
Yeah.
Just to give you a hard time.
Yeah. No, please don't do that. So yeah, episode 3. I'm excited. Or 2. I'm excited. I am excited for episode 3 though because I do want to talk about a very passionate topic of mine.
Ooh. All right.
Do you know what it is?
Is it business?
Kind of. It's not business. So the topic I want to talk about is finding your career path.
Ooh, okay. So similar.
It's on that side of things. Yeah. So
yeah, I'd love to. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bro, let's do it.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I kind of wanted to tell you about New Year's. How was everyone New Year's? I hope everyone had good New Year's.
New Year's was
How's
fun.
your New Year's?
It was good. We had a change of plans on the last day, on New Year's Eve, and we ended up going to this honky tonk bar called the Grizzly Rose.
Yeah, of course.
Yep. So they did a little New Year's bash, and so we went in, and I just took my girlfriend dancing, and so it was a good time. Came back here, stayed up till midnight, and just went to bed. So it was a good time. What about you?
Awesome.
What'd you do? Barely heard about your New Year's.
Yeah. I wanted to save it for this episode.
I've been dying to know what happened.
That was
sounds
quite
like a little story.
It was, I'm with the boys, okay? So you hear the boys, it's going to get a little rowdy, you see.
Yeah.
I hope some of those boys are watching this podcast. Yeah. That'd be awesome. But yeah, it was with the boys, okay? And the day started out with me playing some Minecraft. You see, we're grinding on the Minecraft server there. And my buddy Hogan, he shoots me a quick call. And he's like, yo, my boy.
My boy.
I'm in town. I didn't realize we were all meeting up together as a friend group. So like, like, how about we go to Top Golf or something? I'm like, all right, that sounds good. All right. So
did you and Hogan just go, or did all the boys go?
me and Hogan and our buddy, well, we call him Tash, but Sebastian, Tash, all three of us went and played a little bit of golf, and then ran around town getting some stuff for the Secret Santa gift, or not Secret Santa, the White Elephant. We did a little White Elephant as a group, and then drove all the way to Fort Collins. And in Fort Collins, all the boys were together. It's a good time. We're drinking. We're getting a little rowdy. Let's be real, okay?
Oh yeah.
And my boy Steez, my boy Jane Steez, real tall dude. If he's watching,
bro,
comment below.
He's taller than me, dude.
Yeah, he's taller than Ethan.
I thought I was
and
tall.
He's freaking muscular.
He
bro.
is jacked.
Jacked, and actually a good son of God too. So
yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah,
that guy's awesome.
Absolute legend. And you know what? He's like, "Yo, boys, let's go to the bars."
Bro, that was such a good impression.
Yeah,
that you just
that was
did
okay. I could do better.
It was
yeah.
You need something a little bit deeper. You need a little deeper of a voice,
Maybe.
but also like, I don't know. When he talks, I feel like he like talks with his chest.
Yeah,
He's, like,
he
real
definitely gets
wide,
his chest out, and he gets loud, and it's awesome.
He does.
Yeah, so he was all ecstatic about the bar, going to the bar. So we did. We got an Uber XL. And
there you go.
Yeah, we fit all. I think there's only 7 of us. We drove down there, and at this point, okay.
Well, hold on, I'm sorry. What kind of Uber did you get? Like what pulled up? Was it like a little minivan or like?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They have those?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, minivan.
Okay.
Pulled up. I can't remember if that was on the way back or the way there. Maybe if I don't remember, that might be an issue.
That might be a little problem.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue.
Yeah. So, I was feeling pretty good at this point. You know what I mean? And so we go, and we get to these bars, and we were drinking, like we were just sipping on some Jack and Coke. Okay. So it gets pretty heavy there. And we definitely had 2 we went to 2 bars, and then and we also had a shot at the first one too. So, things got crazy. But yeah, so we're having a good time. We're dancing. And the only thing I could think about, I feel like, although I was not in my right mind, I'm intoxicated.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should get intoxicated, but like, I just, the verse in Luke, I don't remember what the verse is, but it's like when Jesus is on the cross, he's like, "Forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing." And I was sitting in the matter, I'm no different than anyone else in that bar, but there was definitely some lost souls up in that. And then so that we get to the second bar. The first one I was like having fun, but the second one, I felt like just so radically different. Like,
how so?
Like, and although once again I'm intoxicated, I could just be emotional, but like I was just feeling like there was some crazy stuff going on. There was girls making out with each other. There was just some sinful things going on.
Yeah,
and all I could think about was God. Like I was having a whole conversation in my head, drunk of course, with God. About this stuff, and this freaking like shook me a little bit. This girl comes around crying, and guy's following her. She looks at me dead in the eyes, like locks on, and I ask her, "Hey, are you okay?" I literally for the hell of me, I cannot remember what she said. I couldn't hear what she said, so I blocked the dude from her, and then she went and stopped next to all these other girls, and she was chatting with them for a little bit. I'm like, dude, if this guy's a problem, I'm blocking him right now, but you need to get going while I'm blocking him. And she ends up going, he finds another way around. So I asked the girls that she talked to, I was like, is she okay? And one of the girl I asked was like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't really know what to do at that point. I probably should have at least followed her out and made sure she was okay, but I didn't. And I was just like, oh, yeah. And I was just so in my head at that point of like, if something happened to her, first, that's horrible. Or something's happening. But second of all, she's just another lost soul, just like all of us. We're all lost souls. But, at least we found Jesus in the mix. And I don't know, like it was just very and I just felt very spiritual in that moment, which sounds kind of weird for me being a drunk guy. And so it was kind of funny because this bar is kind of small. And then there was this stage and then a stage up. And the stage is maybe the size of this, like, it's actually bigger than this table, but it's tiny.
Yeah.
And it's like a massive step up. So naturally, Steez, my boy Jane, big dude, is up there ruling the stage. He's having a good time, all right? And he gets all of us boys up there. And I'm in the back, and then my other friend Jane, we had two friend Janes, little Jay. Out of nowhere, I didn't start talking. I didn't like tell him about how I was feeling or anything. We just started talking about God on the stage.
On stage as everyone's like partying.
As everyone's partying around us.
Wow.
And we had a whole conversation. And then, okay, so that was the cool part of the story. And then after that, these bunch of girls came up, and I thought this was funny. They pushed Steez off, okay?
Wow.
They turned to us as we're talking about God, okay? And like, hey, only girls are allowed on the stage. You need to get off. And I was like, no. And then she like gave me this look of like pure disgust. It was so funny. And then my boy Ryan, he was right next to us. I can't remember if he just pushed him off, but somehow he managed to kick him off the stage. Yeah.
Oh, Ryan.
No, but that was my weekend. It was a little crazy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much of a partier. And then you take me to a bar and it's like, yeah, it's interesting.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure people can attest to this, but like and I think this was the point of the night where you get pretty drunk, and then afterwards you're starting to chill out, and then you have some of the best conversations of your life at that moment, which is so weird. And then it happened in the back of a bar. I'm not promoting getting drunk because that's heavily talked about in the Bible. About not to do that. But
yes. However, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being honest with that. First of all,
no problem.
That's what we're here to do. We're here to be honest.
Yes.
But how do you feel about that experience? Anything happened with Jaden since then, or?
No, but I think we've had conversations about God in the past.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like
it was
more of a like a I'm not gonna I don't want to reveal everything he's saying.
Yeah.
But it's more of I know there's a God kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like he believes in it.
Yeah.
Believes in Jesus, I think so.
Yeah.
That's good.
But it wasn't necessarily like a turning point conversation. Do you think?
I think it's been over time. I think maybe some of the last conversations we had, and not just me either.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Well,
I
think sometimes like, I mean, obviously a lot of the time it's like, it's those buildups, you know?
Well, yeah. And his two best friends, so Jane Steez, if any of y'all are watching, like maybe we got to have them on the podcast.
Yeah, for real. That'd be cool.
But yeah, Jane Steez, he's completely transformed over this last year since I met him. And he's really given his life to Jesus. I think he got baptized this year.
Yeah.
And everything like that. Yeah. And I'm really proud of him. And then Ryan, he went to young adults with me.
Yeah.
And he confesses Christianity and confesses Jesus too. So I think his two best friends, probably are, Anyways, I'm not here to obviously our job is, Matthew 28 to, spread the name of Jesus, to all nations. But, and of course, I'd love to see Jesus in all my friend groups, including the boys, because the boys have been around since day one. I love them. And I'd like to see it, like Jesus make a radical change in all their lives.
Yeah.
Just like he has in mine. And but I'm also not I'm not here to say, all right, guys, you are going to be converted. I'm going to convert you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think what you're doing is good, dude. I've seen it. I've seen all the work that you've been doing. I think it's the chipping away process. It's a slow chip. Jesus is just slowly chipping away, and I think your role and your place in it, and it's not to change anything really about the friendship. It's to put your foot down sometimes when things are getting, rowdy like they did this weekend, and you know what I mean?
I didn't put my foot down.
No, I know. But for not necessarily applying to you, but I'm just talking about I can think of a few other examples of people we've talked to, you know what I mean? Where it's we used to do this, but now this time I was just you know what? I'm not going to do that. But I think just what you do of not really changing the friendship, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Of just loving them the same, but just you're a changed person.
Yeah. And, I love that these conversations pop up. I wish I could be more prepared for them sometimes.
No, for real.
There's a verse, you probably know it in Romans, where it's just because you can control, for example, alcohol. Like I
Yeah,
never
yeah,
drink.
yeah.
I never drink except on the occasion. So it's not like it's a really big problem for me. It could be, that's a good warning. But like, it's like, do not, just because you can control something doesn't mean you should do it around those friends that can't control themselves, that have that self-control. Is that making sense?
I know exactly what
You know
you're talking about. Yeah.
What is that? Romans? It's Romans.
Looking for it now. It is Romans, yeah. That wasn't in 1 Corinthians, was it? I don't
It
think
could have been. We could be
looking.
the complete wrong book. That'd be awkward. I really don't. It could be.
Oh, you know what?
Is it?
It is. It said in 1 Corinthians 8:12, it says, and when you sin against other believers by encouraging them to do something they believe is wrong, you are sinning against Christ. That's part of it. There's chapter 1 Corinthians chapter. Sorry, that's just the verse I had highlighted, but the entire chapter of 8 in 1 Corinthians talks about that. Food sacrificed to idols. It says, starting in verse 6, it says, but for us there is one God, the Father, by whom all things were created and for whom we live. And there is one Lord Jesus Christ, through whom all things were created and through whom we live. However, not all believers know this. Some are accustomed to thinking of idols as being real, so when they eat food that has been offered to idols, they think it is as the worship of real gods, and their weak consciences are violated. It's true that we can't win God's approval by what we eat. We don't lose anything if we don't eat it, and we don't gain anything if we do. But you must be careful so that your freedom does not cause others with a weaker conscience to stumble. For if others see you with your superior knowledge eating in the temple of an idol, won't they be encouraged to violate their conscience by eating food that has been offered to an idol?
1 Corinthians, huh?
That's in 1 Corinthians 8. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Wrong book. Sorry, guys.
No worries. This is one of those New Testament.
Our well-versed Bible people watching the podcast like, no, Ian. No. Sorry, guys.
No, but we did talk about that. This is a good, like, incentive, if you will, or just even drive to be able to know the Bible more. Because, like, I feel like you and I have a good sense of the Bible. It's just exactly where it's at. It's pinpointing it.
Right, yeah.
What book, what chapter, what verse.
What does it say?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, dude. Yeah, that's a cool story. I'm glad you talked with that, bro. But yeah, proud of you, dude. I know.
Nothing to be proud of.
I mean, I understand. Well, having conversations like that with your friend. I'm talking long term distance.
Yeah.
Of just like always trying to have those conversations, being open about your faith. I mean, yeah, like definitely like be conscious and wary next time of that. But I think,
and it was so interesting, like in the midst of all that, like in the midst of being drunk, and like I know the feeling of the Holy Spirit, versus the feeling of drunk. It's very different.
Yeah.
Some would say, oh, they're the same. Because, like, obviously in Acts during the day of Pentecost, like, oh, no, they're just drunk on wine.
Yeah.
But, like, I felt the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
I think in that moment of, like, a protection in a way, but also, like, a eye-opener of, like, this is what the world looks like. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And these are the people I love.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't go in there, and what I didn't feel was, like, oh, this is gross. This is nasty. Look at what people are doing.
Yeah.
What I really felt was a deep sense of compassion.
Yeah, 100%.
And it was interesting.
Yeah. I think, so interesting you're talking about this. Kayla and I had a long conversation about this. The original plan was to go to a party that night, and we ended up not going because we really sat down for a while and we just talked about the culture behind it, why people do it, and kind of just like how I don't want to get into too much, but how we're trying to not go to that. You know what I mean? How we're trying to live our life for Christ, how we're trying to glorify Him in that. And so pretty much what we just concluded was like, why, and this is for us. I'm not trying to tell you, I'm not trying to tell anybody else. I'm just saying this was our conviction of like, why would we go to something where we know there's a chance of like where we might fall into sin? I mean, even if we did go, I already told her, I was like, I'm not planning on like really drinking. I was like, maybe I'll do a shot at like midnight, but I was like, that's about it. And so, and like same with her, like we weren't planning on getting like wasted. We were planning about being just responsible and having fun, but we just felt like that wasn't where we should be. And we ended up going to the Grizzly Rose, caught up with a few friends there, and excuse me, had a great time. But yeah, I just think I definitely see that a lot of just like that's kind of how I felt. It's just like, man, like party culture is just very, it's interesting, you know what I mean? Of like it's kind of sad because like what's the reason behind it, you know what I mean? And and you hear all these stories of like just these bad things kind of happen at parties, but people continue going to them and doing the same thing they did the last time, and then more stuff kind of comes up and happens, and it can create trauma. It just can create bad memories, or nothing may happen at all. But yeah, it's just like it's trying to I feel like what, at least for me, what I see is just trying to fill in a gap that for something that only Jesus can fill.
That's right.
And you know what? Same thing applies for me too. Sure, I may not party, but I sin in other ways. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that we're better because we don't sin in one area, because we all struggle with something. Mm-hmm. We all are sinful creatures. And, you know, I feel like that's there. They don't know Jesus. Sure. I didn't know Jesus at one point, and I was lost, but Jesus found me. And I think that's the cool thing, is where you get to the point where you look at someone with love and compassion and be like, man, I wish you knew Jesus. I wish you knew Jesus. And instead of just at least I don't struggle with that sin. You know what I mean? At least I'm not struggling with partying. At least I'm not struggling with alcohol. You know, but, you know, I struggle with other things. You know, that's why I think it's cool when you can like just look with that compassion, like you were talking about. It's just like, yeah, I wish they knew. And I guess that's a whole other topic too, of just like, I mean, like, I guess a question that comes up after that is like, if we do feel like that, why not tell them? You know what I mean? And that's a whole other like scary kind of thing to get into. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think we were talking about that at small group yesterday, of like that we were in Acts 3, and there is the story of how Peter and John were going into the temple to pray for the service, and there was a man that was he was paralyzed, I think. He just couldn't walk. Something was wrong with his ankles and his legs, and everyone else walked by. You know, there were people in the temple before they were, but they stopped and they prayed over him, and God healed the man. And Peter was like, you don't need money. What you need is Jesus. And then he found Jesus and he was healed. And so I think it's like the same thing for people that just still don't know Jesus. Is like, because I was the same way. I thought I needed porn. I thought I needed sex. I thought I needed distractions from the world, but I didn't need those things. What I really needed was Jesus. That's all I needed. And so, yeah. So that's why I like that story so much.
It's good.
It's cool.
It's a good story.
Yeah, bro.
I like it.
But yeah, let's move on to the next thing. The next ting.
Next ting.
Bro, let's talk about you.
Me.
Let's talk about your journey. Mm-hmm. I want to hear, obviously, your journey with Jesus, and also your business too, bro.
Yeah.
And how what he's kind of done there for you.
Yeah.
I think those are two key things of your testimony, of just like obviously Jesus in your life, and I think a big part too is just like obviously with your business, and that's something you're passionate about. You know what I mean? That you're passionate about getting people up, motivating them, encouraging them to live their best life, and to work and to grind and to pursue God, but also pursue him in more than just in other ways in a business. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
let's hear, bro.
Just dive in.
Dive
Just
into
like you, starting in the beginning with the Oreo picture,
Yes, dude.
We got to go back to the beginning.
You got an Oreo picture, bro?
The one you sent me.
No. You got
No.
it. Oh.
No, just like you.
Like me.
How you went to the beginning with the Oreo
if
picture.
you had an Oreo picture, bro, that'd be fire.
I doubt it. Yeah, no. We weren't big Oreo kids growing up. But, so yeah, going way back, back to when I was a kid. I had this really flourishing imagination. So good. I still have them, 2 massive boxes of Army Guys. And I'd sit on the floor and just leave the world. I'd completely leave the world. I wouldn't be able to see anything that's around me, and just completely dive into my own stories. And kind of like a dream, they would just make themselves as I would go through them. As the story would go, new ideas would generate, and they'd be created. I wish I could turn those into movies, because I'm sure they would have been pretty good action films. But yeah, anyway, so I always had a very imaginative mind. And of course, as a kid, I had no idea of how to express that. And as you grow up, a lot of people lose, quotation mark, their imagination. Mm-hmm. I feel like I just transferred it into something that can make me money, and used in a different way.
Yeah.
That I'm passionate about. But yeah, so my parents, they found Christ 2008, 2009-ish, something like that. So I have been born with a very blessed family. So good. In fact, obviously we live with my twin brother here. Phenomenal. Yeah. So right. I do have a twin brother. We're both 22, and he's my best friend in life.
Yep.
The moment I have to move out of his house and, start my own life a little bit separate, I'll be moving down the street, and it's still going to be hard, But yeah, amazing brother, amazing sister. She is currently a cop for the Denver Police Department. Dante is a welder for a company called Fiore & Son. So both, I feel like, are pretty successful in their own right. But my parents, phenomenal parents. Just the most loving, always there at our games, and also not afraid to put their foot down. And I think that's kind of a big part of the story. So they found Christ 2009. And back then, we started going to Landing Place, which was back then called Crossroads. And I was a little kid. I think I was in 2nd grade. We started going to what was called Kids Link.
Yep.
And we didn't know God. Like, we didn't know who God was. We're little 2nd graders. I don't even know what you mean by God. Like, what does that even mean? Yeah, right. But all I remember feeling is just feeling so welcomed. And my parents at the time were also going from church to church. And we went to the Crossroads, and we just felt so welcomed and felt so loved there that we were like, Mom, Dad, we're coming back next week, right? Cool. Mm-hmm. Like, we were just passionate about it. And then we ended up getting baptized before they got baptized, which is interesting, right? I didn't know that until earlier this year. I didn't know that part of the story. I just kind of figured it was a team effort or something. Right. But yeah, our baptisms kind of led into our parents' own baptisms. And I think that just shows that childlike faith that Jesus talks about in the New Testament of, like, there was no logic explaining why I was following Jesus. I didn't even know really. I knew what it was back then. Like, I knew what it was, but I didn't know what it was. It's not like what I know now. Now it's more logic, like, these are the logic, these are the facts, and also the emotional side too of why I followed Jesus. Mm-hmm. But back then it was just like, Jesus brings peace and joy, and he's bringing that to my family as well.
Yeah.
And we actually met Hogan, legend. He was my first friend when I moved schools back then. So I moved in 2nd grade from one school to another, and he was my best friend at that school. Still is one of my best friends. Yep. And but yeah, and he would also go to church with us, and we do what we called mini motions when we dance. We did, like, with our fingers. Move our fingers.
Love that guy, bro.
Love that dude. Yeah. Absolute legend. But yeah, so that's kind of where it was then. 2nd grade, still too young for anything. Middle school rolls around, and at this point, I have a massive video game addiction, and that led up until about 8th grade. I'm pretty good at catching the camera when it dies.
You've caught it, like, every time so far.
Yeah. Sorry. So if you're just listening and you're not actually watching the podcast, you're probably like, what's going on? But yeah, camera died. I love my camera, but it dies. Like, the batteries last 30 to 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. So And, buying like what we call a V-mount battery would probably give it enough power to run an entire podcast episode. But, hey, like, I'm just trying to run a business, and
you got rent
I'm
to pay.
also trying to live, and this
bro.
podcast is not sponsored. So, Dr. Squatch, sponsor us. We will put
Please.
bars of soap in the background with our cool lamps. So, Ian Dre's Productions does support the podcast.
Yes.
But I can't also provide female batteries at this time. So,
Yeah, I mean, you got bills to pay, bro.
Yes.
You got groceries to pay for.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to make it as a young adult out here, okay?
Dude. And your I completely forgot what the name of it. The gimbal. The gimbal.
The gimbal broke. Yeah, my stabilizer that makes that thing fly. The motors went out.
Yeah, that sucks. It's still not working.
No. So either I can take it in to get repaired at a shop.
Mm-hmm.
Might be cheaper, or I just upgrade. But also, I'm like, I have goals for this year to save more money. Ooh. But, expenses are expenses. Anyways, back to the story.
Back to it.
For all of our podcast listeners that don't watch, they're probably really confused. Okay, camera died, done deal. So we were talking about my story, and I left off about how I was in middle school, okay, and how I had a very deep video game addiction.
That's right.
It was Dante's coming home. We're gonna have to tell him to shut up.
Can hear the diesel.
You can hear the diesel.
Diesel pulling in.
My God, this podcast is so random. Anyways, so yeah, very deep video game addiction. It was so bad to the point like I would hear gunshots in my head, like echo in and out of my brain, like or even Minecraft sounds, or echoing in and out. Like,
dude, would you have those? Like when you do something for a lot, regardless if it's video games or you just do something very consistently for a while, and you sleep. And you see it while you're sleeping, like you see it in your dreams. Is it like that?
Oh, yeah. I had this one dream once. It was actually kind of dope. We were, because I don't want to go too off course. I'm not going to say that dream. Okay. Don't want to go too off course. But yeah, like it was bad. And like when I was at school, I couldn't focus. All I could think about was, shooting someone else down in a Call of Duty game or, something like that. And my attention span was just awful. Like, I would never hang out with my family other than at the dinner table. I would just run to my room and play video games, and like hide in my room as much as I can, which I still do. I'm pretty good at entertaining myself, but it was just really bad. And my dad would like actually like try to take me out to the barn, being a good dad he is, and like try to teach me, real working skills, how to work with my hands. And I couldn't focus enough and I hated it. So I was like, I just hated it. And I was like, he was genuinely trying to help me and trying to teach me some good work ethic and skills. So yeah, my dad was being a good dad, trying to get me out, teach me all these things. And I was the worst son because I wouldn't want to help him. And I'd throw fits whenever he wanted me to come work out with it. It was actually really bad looking back on it. But, they made the executive decision, the best decision of my life that I didn't even make, was to take my Xbox away. And they claimed they threw it away. But really, they locked it in a safe for 2 years. So
the Xbox in there?
It's in my room, actually.
Oh, it's the one.
The one.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
And so that thing was abolished. It was banned from existence, okay?
Cut.
And, that's the benefit of having great parents and having a bad addiction like that was like, and that's the thing with accessibility, too. Once that access is gone, it's like you're able to heal because it's just not there, you know? So it was gone. And, and that completely changed my life because going into freshman year, I was like, felt so introverted because I like my entire identity, which just sounds stupid, was, tied to video games at that time. I was really good at them. And, it was tied to that. And now it's all of a sudden gone. So I go from this pretty confident 8th grader to a most introverted freshman. And I always felt like kids were picking on me, all that stuff. And I always felt like, why does people feel bigger than me? Why? Well, okay, maybe because they drink more chocolate milk, but no, but yeah.
It worked for me.
It worked for you. But yeah, no, like more of a metaphoric way of like, why do they feel bigger than me? And why do I feel like I have no confidence to stand up for myself at times and stuff like that? So I was always really introverted through high school. But I found parkour freshman year. I think I was always captivated by the YouTube videos. Tried it. And that first year was okay. It was all right. I wrestled that year as well and did cross country. So that kind of put me out of parkour for a little bit. Sophomore year, I meet my best friend, Matthew Gable. And we're going to have this brother on a podcast.
We have to.
I was on the phone with him today, and we have a plan in place to get him on an episode.
Really? Okay.
Pretty much.
Is he coming in town?
Well, but what we might end up doing is he has a microphone at home because he lives in Tennessee. We're going to get to that part of the story. He lives in Tennessee. But hook him up on the TV over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then all he has to do is record that Zoom call, or we just use this, and then record his microphone that he already has.
Perfect, bro. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Have him on for a few episodes. But anyways, so we find parkour, and we're both in a very similar state at this point where we're both really introverted. He was kind of homeschooled at this point. And, but we both had this ambition to become something better. And we both, what's so interesting, and we'll go more into this story too when I go, I want to do an episode on brotherhood, and or in that close friendship or sisterhood or whatever. I know girls are a lot more emotional, especially with other girls, and they have drama all the time. So it may not be the same, but I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, we're going to go more in depth on that. He was in a place where he looked up to me for some things, and I looked up to him for some things. So when we latched on, it was like this. It was one open gym. We just clicked, and we were best friends, from there on. And we started doing parkour, and that weekend we started talking about making a YouTube channel and going down to Denver and doing parkour and doing all this stuff. At this point, back up a little bit, I made cheesy gaming YouTube videos when I was gaming, really bad YouTube videos. That came to a halt. And then we got huge into airsoft in high school and all that. So we were making airsoft videos at the time too. So I was making videos. They weren't very good. You can actually, on this YouTube channel, you can scroll down and see all the parkour videos and see my journey there. But so we started making parkour YouTube videos, and they were a ton of fun. And started growing from there. And then that year, this is 2018, we started planning a whole film. We wanted to make a film for fun. It was an idea that came into my head that I kept building on and building on and building on, and then he built on, and then we kind of collabed on it. Worked on that film for 2 years. I think it was 2 years from inception to the end. Yep. And I grew so much in that 2 years. We both grew in parkour, but also in filmmaking, that the first scenes we filmed were absolute garbage versus the end scenes. And now I would say my end scenes are garbage compared to what I can do now. But we grew so much that I was we can't use that. And so normally what filmmakers do when they're learning is they'll make short films. So then they can at least finish the project. They can get it done and then move on to the next and try all these different story ideas. I didn't do that. We just made one consecutive film. And then it kind of started falling apart, the foundation, because I didn't know pre-production at the time. I didn't know about writing scripts, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So the whole film kind of fell apart, unfortunately, but I will never regret it because it made me who I am today. And I 100%. Love watching those scenes. Yeah. They're amazing. Some of them are really phenomenal, actually, in how we did it. Yeah. And the fact that all the boys and all my friends came together to help on that film.
Yeah, bro.
Multiple times. I have no idea how many times they all came on film sets and film days to help film and act when they're not actors. And when they're not passionate about that, and just because they love me and they saw my passion, so
it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's cool to have a friend group like that, especially at that age in high school. Just have a group that has your back no matter what. Especially how many you guys had. You know what I mean? And how you guys continue to have that still even to today. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, so some of those friends we met in high school, 3 of them, but the core 5 of us, I would say 5 met middle school and down, and teachers would literally tell us this. Teachers would literally say, after you hit high school, you're probably not gonna have the same friends.
Dude, what was up with that? Because I was told that too.
Yeah, I don't know. And we, for years, were like, F you teachers, look at us go. It's senior year and we're all besties.
Okay,
we graduated, we're all besties.
They were right. I don't have any friends from middle school.
Oh.
But I don't think no, I don't.
Well, I think they're genuinely like right. Like they're probably true
Yeah,
because either you go to different schools and then you start growing
Yeah.
in high school, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Well, and then especially after high school too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think high school is like an easier, like once you have like your good friends, like I'm friends with a lot of people I was friends with in high school.
That's fair.
That's
Yeah.
easier
But
because there's more things you can control, and you actually put in the effort to like stay in touch like after you graduate and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but regardless, that's cool. That from middle school up, that you guys are like.
Well, and Hogan and then Tash. Technically, Tash came in 5th grade, but Hogan and I have been since 2nd grade.
Yeah, bro, that's crazy.
So yeah, we've been friends for a very long time. So that's what I mean when I go on New Year's Eve and I have a good time with the boys. That's what I mean because these boys are my life. They're they're not friends I'm gonna eradicate.
These are your brothers.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's your
But
family
anyways,
right there.
back to the story. Cool. So we're making that film, doing all that, growing in parkour as well, which gave me a lot of confidence. Towards senior year, junior year, all that, I was like starting to transform a lot. But one thing Matthew and I really wanted to focus on, because we were still pretty introverted, was like, how can we not be introverted? How can we be better with people? One thing was I got my job at Chick-fil-A 2018 as well, so that was huge. I worked at Chick-fil-A for 5 years, and we'll go more into that later. But worked out there for 5 years, so that definitely helped me like get out of my shell, and I basically ruled that space. I was there for 5 years. Grew up in leadership too, and yeah, that was my home. So I was like the alpha Chad there, you know what I mean? Like ruled that place. Any person that came in knew Ian, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It actually it kind of got a little toxic. No, but it was funny.
Power went to his head.
Power into my head. Yeah. No, but so that was Chick-fil-A. But we also, so Matthew and I, back to Matthew, started doing like social experiments. We wouldn't really record them, but we'd go out to the mall and try to do what the YouTubers were doing and like make things, and it was funny. Yeah. So we were definitely like, and we're still this way, Matthew and I, where we had the same ambition since day one.
Yeah.
Where we're like, we want to just be better human beings. We want to grow. And it started through parkour, and we got really good at parkour. And then it moved to, we both want to like be better with people. We both did that. And during these years, I wanted to follow my parents' footsteps of entrepreneurship, and he wanted the same. So him and I would just dream and have hour-long conversations like you and I do, like this podcast, where we would just talk about growing a business and creating a lifestyle of our dreams.
Yeah.
And so that's where the business starts to come in, right? Because I'm growing in video. Not only was I growing in parkour at the time, I was growing in video. And yeah, like I just realized I was like, video is a way I can make money. I grew up watching YouTubers make money off of their videos. I watched a ton of YouTubers. I was like, I could probably do that for myself too, right? And so I went to film school 2021, that semester. And I went one semester. It was during the heart of COVID, so it kind of sucked. It was all online. Luckily, I had some of the gear because your boy was passionate. I invested in some of this stuff.
That's right.
And I kind of realized that film school was not the right vehicle. Like that was taking me towards Hollywood. I wanted entrepreneurship.
Yep.
So I dropped out after that semester and bought an online course for like $1,000, significantly cheaper. I taught myself, learned super quick. And at the same time, simultaneously, I was starting to do free to fee. So I started to do free videos for as many people as I can. I started reaching out to people and filming free videos and trying to grow in my craft and also get known. And from that season, Matthew ended up moving away. He moved to Tennessee, which was really hard for me. And then a new friend came in the picture. His name was Enrique, absolute legend. Good old Kike. This boy had energy. Like, if he's ever in town, Kike, if you're watching this, you're on the pod, okay? Because we need that energy, especially right now. We're both kind of tired.
Oh, I'm exhausted.
You're ready for bed. I'm ready for bed.
Yeah,
but
bro.
That boy, I'll tell you what, 5:30 in the morning at Chick-fil-A, I'd be coming into work. I'd be like, oh, dang, this is tired. Kike is like, he's still got bags under his eyes, and he's like, "Let's go!" Like, come on. I'm like, Bro,
where are you getting this from?
How does one do this? Yeah, so he would always just get me hyped all the time. And this was during that real stage. I was kind of experimenting with the world, was kind of with Kike. I love Kike. He has found Jesus since, which is awesome. But yeah, like I felt like my relationship to Jesus prior to this point, so throughout high school, was youth group. And it was just highs. You'd get that high going on camps, going on mission trips. That was it. It was just the church highs. And then after that, it was just hanging out with Hogan and some of the friends on Sunday nights at youth group. Like, it didn't really feel like much. I knew I was saved. I did not know Jesus the way I wasn't a disciple of Jesus, I would say, at that point. So Kike comes around, and we start experimenting with the world a little bit. We're hitting the gym at this point. Matthew got me in the gym. Oh my God, this story is just so big and so vast. There's so many different ways to go.
No worries.
But yeah, Matthew also got me working out in the gym.
Yep.
Yeah, so like him and I both wanted to get bigger because we were both skinny guys. Another thing that he got me into, and we started hitting the gym. That was 3 years ago. He moves away. Kike moves. We're hitting the gym. I'm trying to get Kike to go to the gym with me, and he starts lifting too. And but we end up we go clubbing a lot. I could say I've been to a strip club once. That was a crazy experience. Don't recommend.
No,
do not. Even then, like I said, I think I was saved, so the Holy Spirit was within me.
Are they not 21 and up? Or are they 18?
They're 18.
Oh,
you just can't drink. Yeah.
Okay.
Any people that's 19, they're 43 and up.
I'm not allowed to go. Bible says not to.
Bible says not to. No, but yeah.
Are you convicted yet?
Yeah, that was a crazy night, man. But yeah, I had the Holy Spirit within me though, because that's how I had conviction of it the entire time. Like my morals when I was in there, kind of similar to the story I just went with the bars. It was very similar of like what am I doing? Like what is this? So I definitely knew the Holy Spirit. I at that time I did not know. Now I know that the Holy Spirit was trying to knock on my door and was trying to tell me, which is a blessing, Yeah. And so anyways, towards the end of Kike and I's close friendship, I should say, we're still friends, but it's more of a distance. I was feeling like, respectfully, and I wasn't a good influence on Kike either. But it also went vice versa. Like we weren't good together. I wasn't growing forward. And at this time I was like, I thought I was doing everything right. I was building a business and I was building my dream physique in the gym. I was doing everything the world was prescribing you to do. Yeah. But yet something was missing. There was like this black hole inside my chest and I remember it very vividly. It was just like this hole in my chest, of like, there's something missing here. And I started getting the convictions that like, from God, that like you need to kind of push Kike out. So the month, this is really crazy, that it was a month before he moved away that I started having these thoughts, and I didn't know he was moving away. And so I didn't text him at all. I was like, it was one of those games of like, well, I usually am the one always planning things. Bro, if he doesn't text me, then
for real. So it was high school stuff with like your crush or whatever.
Yeah. So it was that.
Yeah.
I didn't get a text until a month later. It was on a Sunday. The only text I got from him was, "Hey, I'm moving back to California on Wednesday." And that kind of shook me a little bit because like him and I were best friends.
Yeah.
And he didn't text me for a whole month. I didn't text him back, to be fair.
Yeah, but you guys didn't talk.
And the only text I got was, "I'm moving back." There was no conversation at all for the months prior to that.
It wasn't like
him moving.
Hey, it was just a text. Was it just like a straight up like?
Yeah, and then I did end up meeting him before he moved.
Yeah.
But I really think, and it was for his own good too, and also mine. It was a blessing for both of us because we both needed to be separated, and God did it, like just like that. And he ended up finding Jesus in California. Like he is a disciple of Jesus now. Like I'm really proud of him and the developments he's made. He's awesome, and I was able to grow closer to Jesus as well. And it was really good for both of us. Clear. Obvious that God did something there. Okay, so now at this point, my best friend Matthew leaves, moves away. My best friend Kike leaves, he's gone. So here I am, like, God, okay, I need another friend, my boy. I gotta get my friends going.
Next in line, please.
Next in line. And 2 months later, after he moved, my dad is, well, not 2 months later, but like, we go to the men's advance.
Yeah.
My dad invites me to go in this men's advance. I'm like, at this point, I'm like, okay, like, I'm a Christian, so, why not, I guess. I don't know what to expect. Go up there, and the only young dude was you.
Yeah.
Was you.
Dude, I remember that.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
crazy.
I know, it is crazy. So, you and I, like you said last week, naturally latch on to each other, and this is where our stories kind of become the same. And just like my friendship with Matthew and Enrique, I didn't really talk about how I made friends with Enrique, but it was just instant, like an instant click, like God did something right then and there. And for me, I saw, and this is something I always look for my friends, and we'll go over this in the brotherhood episode I want to talk about, because I'm very passionate about that too. But I saw value in you, that you can add value to me. Which
he
was
using me.
I was using him.
He was using me for
in a
his
good way though,
personal
right?
gain.
Like at this point, I felt like I was missing God.
Yeah.
And you seemed more religious and spiritual than I was at this point.
Yeah.
And then, so I was like, okay, this is value. I measure all my friends based off of value. Some are their values entertainment. Some are more like, let's walk through life together. But
we're just kidding.
We're just kidding.
We're just kidding.
So yeah, as you heard last episode, he suggests the small group, and this is where my part of the story was. 2 months earlier, I went to church, and I heard they had a whole message about small groups, and I had the conviction at church. I remember it now very clearly. I had the conviction at church of like, you should do a small group. But my pessimist brain at the time was very like, oh, small groups are for churchy people. Like, no way.
Yeah.
Like that's, and it kept coming up and coming up and coming up until, so I probably heard it 4 or 5 times when you finally said, maybe we should start a small group. And then at that point, I was like, okay, this is a no-brainer. I'm like, of course, let's do it.
Yeah.
The next 3 months in between that period was just crazy. I'm trying to work on my business and trying to get it off the ground. I'm still working at Chick-fil-A. At this point at Chick-fil-A, it's been like 4 years or something. And I'm like, God, can you please just let me go full-time yet? Like, please, like, I'm getting impatient, but I'm also like, it's in God's will. It's in God's plan. It's all good. Like, this sucks though. Like, I'm sick of being here. Those 3 months, you and I ran into some serious doubt with the small group because we launched it in August. The men's advance was in end of March?
Yeah. April,
something like that. So there was several months up until starting the small group. And so without us ever talking to each other and saying we have these doubts, we sit down with Eric Bloom. He's the growth pastor at Landing Place Church. And so he's kind of oversees all the small groups. And he knew that we had interest in it. So he's asking us our plans and how we were going to run everything. And he just sensed that we both were like in this doubt. Like in my head, I'm like, I don't know. I haven't read the Bible really ever. I was starting to read the Bible at that point. And I don't know. We just felt like I at least felt was not worthy to do around a small group.
Yeah, I mean, I felt the same way too. I think for me, what was going through my head was kind of very similar of like, what makes me qualified? I was just like, or can we actually do this? Because like, I've had a lot of experience in youth ministry and being a leader there, but then we were moving up to people that were our age. And in my head, I was 18 at the time. So in my head, I was thinking to myself of like, oh my gosh, like all these people are going to be older than me, like way older than me. Like, am I going to be able to like, do I have enough experience of life to be able to help these guys? And so, but yeah, both of us, it's so weird because I remember when he said that we both kind of like looked at each other and gave like a little like
Yeah.
like a little like worried like smile, like a little worried smirk of like, oh.
Yeah.
I do remember.
Yeah. And he just like saw right through us, and he's like,
He did.
I forget what he said, but like he was like, "You guys are doubting yourselves, aren't you?" Or something like that.
He was like, he's like, you guys are feeling a little anxious about this, aren't you?
Yeah.
Or
I
just
don't
questioning it.
remember what it was. Yeah, but
along the lines of
either way, he saw right through us
Yeah.
without us saying a word, and he started giving us some encouragement. And then at the end of our conversation, he goes, "I got to think about this. And I have to ask my wife. Good man of God. Got to ask my wife.
Mm-hmm.
But would you guys be interested in mentorship, or something like that?"
Dude.
And Ethan and I are like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That was new to me.
Mm-hmm.
I never had a mentor, like an official like title mentor. I've had people that I've looked up to, that I would consider a mentor, but I've never like, especially spiritually. I thought that was always so interesting. I thought that was reserved for like
business and
like pastoral stuff, those kind of things.
Okay.
And so that was cool to me. The fact that like also just who Eric is as a person. Not just the title. I think before it was more of like, oh my gosh, like someone like this high up in like landing place staff like wants to like mentor us, like he's talking about this, and then it's turned into like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool, like his character more than the title. You know what I mean? Because we didn't really know him that well at the time.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool that he was just like, that he brought himself to our level and was like, hey, I see two guys that want to grow and that want to learn, and I want to help with that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like life-changing when he decided to mentor us. We started meeting with him and building that relationship with him, and now we're like best friends, texting each other, weird comments. And
bro, we were talking about the Magic School Bus today in the group chat.
Oh, in the group chat.
In the group chat. Dude, okay. I think this is the funniest thing. He is in his 30s and he tries to use like high school slang. So he finally figured out what Riz is. And today he was talking about the Magic School Bus, and he like says Miss Rizzler from the Magic School Bus. Amazing. This dude is hilarious.
Jesus has risen.
Bro, that was crazy. Okay, that was funny.
That was funny.
He said no cap today too.
Yeah, he did pull a no cap. I was like, bro, no cap?
No cap, bro?
No cap, bro?
No cap, bro?
That's crazy. Yeah, he's funny.
Slang. Yeah.
We'll have Eric on the podcast when we do a mentorship episode. Because I think it's very interesting to get the perspective of a mentoree and also the mentorer, 100%. Because it's definitely a relationship that both have to contribute.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, that's going to be a pretty good episode. So you stay tuned for mentorship.
Yes.
But yeah, at that point too, I've heard the personal development people, I've heard the business people say, you need a mentor, and I did not have a mentor, except I would say my parents are my mentors too. But I did not expect to have a spiritual mentor. I didn't ever think like you, I didn't think that was a thing. Yep. But yeah, it completely changed our life. I think it's one of the most important mentorships a man can have, especially in the 20s when you're trying to figure it out, because
dude,
as you're going through careers or, relationships, all this stuff, everything's inherently spiritual. God is guiding the way, or it should be, you should be allowing the Holy Spirit to lead you, and being able to understand God and also kind of understand what maybe you should do in this situation or whatever. It's so valuable. So anyways, he becomes our mentor that year up until December. So that was a year ago. Up until December was just like immense growth. And then, so it hits, I was talking about how I was like trying to get my business off the ground. I was kind of like, why am I at Chick-fil-A, right? October hits of 2022. And I had such immense doubt in my head that I could actually do what I was dreaming of and talking about with Matthew several years ago, that I could actually pull it off, that I was actually asking my sister about joining the police department and what I needed to do.
I remember that.
And then all of a sudden I get a job opportunity to apply, at least with Flatiron's Church for the video team. If you don't know Flatiron's Church, pretty big. I would say mega church, close to.
Yeah,
mega
bro. They
church.
have an entire like
I would say.
strip mall.
Yeah.
Like built as a church.
Yeah, it's a mega church. They have multiple campuses too. So, but yeah, I was asked to apply, and I applied and had an interview. It went phenomenal. I didn't get the job though.
Yeah.
And what was so interesting was like I didn't feel like, what the heck, man? Like, why didn't I get the job? I'm more than qualified. I've been doing videos for years. No, it wasn't anything like that. It was. I felt this strong calling. Your business.
Yeah.
Your business. And I was like, okay, all right. And this was like, I could not have made this up myself. January, I was like, in January, I'm going part-time at Chick-fil-A. I don't care whether the money's coming in or not. I'm going part-time at Chick-fil-A and trying to focus on my business more. So January comes along, goes part-time. And then we go to this Red Rocks service where Pastor Connor was talking about like, and this was probably the most impactful message I've ever heard in terms of like pushing me down my career. He was talking like, if essentially the message was, if you're on your deathbed, you have two lists in front of you, right? You have one small list, one giant list. The small list is only green check marks, but it's tiny. It's a small list. And then you got the big list, and it's a bunch of red X's, but also a bunch of green check marks. What list would you rather have? You know, most of us would probably want the longer list. We did more with our lives by the time we died, even if we failed. And that was like, okay, that's interesting. And then he says, if Jesus is the prize, right? We're all trying to seek Jesus. Wait a minute, we already have Jesus. So why not take risks? If our entire life is to find Jesus and we already have done that, what's not to lose? You know what I mean? And it goes back to like Psalm 23, my favorite verse, right? My favorite passage right now. It's, you know, the Lord is my shepherd. We lack nothing, you know? And and then they played the song Good Plans. Oh my God. So that message just, during that message, the thought came in my head of like, Ian, go full time. And I was like, yeet, no, thank you. No way. I ain't making no money. I can't go full time right now. You're kidding. Yeet.
Toss that one
right? So after the message, Gabby, one of our friends, she's like, Ian, what did you think of the message? I was like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty rad. It's a good message, you know. And she goes, so what do you think about going full time? I'm like, man, what? What are you
talking about?
What are you talking? What you just say? So that was already weird. And then like as she said that, it was just boom, like hit with the Holy Spirit. Like it was just like, oh no. Yeah. Oh no.
Why don't you go full time, Ian?
Yeah, right. And so I'm like, okay, this might be real. I'm gonna talk to Eric about this, and I'm gonna talk to my parents about this because my parents made a big leap of faith, you know, I don't know, 10 years earlier when they went full time with their business and they had 3 kids, a mortgage, and no money coming in. And no business created. At least I've been working on mine for several years. And they full sent it. So I'm like, okay, let me talk to them and let me just make sure things are right. And also let me pray about it. And so every time I prayed about it, it's just, you know how the Holy Spirit feels. It's warm inside. That's what it was. It was strong. It was just like, this feels so right. Mm-hmm. And then like I talked to my parents and they made sure my heart was right. And it was just like, yeah, like everything lined up. And then I was like, all right, Chick-fil-A, bro. The job that I hated and loved at the same time. I loved the people. I loved, being the ruler, the alpha of the environment. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I have a lot of money saved in my savings account, so I'll be fine. But we're just doing it. We're full sending it. Yeah. And quit my job into February of 2023. And haven't gone back.
Yeah, bro.
I haven't gone back.
No, you haven't.
This plant that you're looking at, they actually gifted me, and they said, if that thing dies, you have forgotten about us. And there's one up there, and it's still alive.
That was theirs too?
Yeah, they were both together, and then they got departed.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, like that was like a life-changing step of faith. And there was really not a whole lot of cash coming in from the business, nowhere near to make me go full-time. And this last year has been just a spiritual journey of like trying to rely on the Lord And yes, he has provided for me. He's brought in income and more income some months. Some months, no money comes in. And it's a constant battle. And yeah, like literally last night, I don't think I told you this. Last night, I was stressing out, like really stressing out. I'm like, I had a good month. You know, I'm coming out of a season where I was not very disciplined. And this month, I really stepped up my game and, lack for better words, got my shit together. And I put out that big offer. You know, I put out a big offer with my business, kind of another leap of faith. I'm like, God, do what you want with this offer. And no one took a bite at that offer. And so I think I was just away from the Lord enough where I wasn't in the Word as much. I wasn't praying as much, that the enemy was seeping in and just trying to put lies in my head. And so I was stressing out quite immensely last night. It was like, am I doing what I should be doing? Am I right? Am I where I'm supposed to be right now? Can I keep doing this? You know, like all those doubts kept coming in my head. And so I was like, okay, hold on. I need the Lord right now. So I prayed for like 15 minutes, and then I got in the Bible a little bit. And then that's why my day today completely transformed versus what I planned, because I was like, I want to just talk with my dad. I just want people pouring into me today. And so that's what happened. I hung out with my dad. I had a call with David. Oh, by the way, I left David out of the complete story. David, he came up this year, big marketing guy. He became my business mentor and also spiritual mentor, and that was a miracle of how he came into my life. So now I have like 3 mentors in different areas. But yeah, so talked with him a little bit today too. And then I had this meeting at 4, and this was completely not scheduled. I went to this like a networking meeting this morning, and I kind of gave that same offer out. I let it out. I was like, hey guys, I'm running this offer to January 15th, 20 photos, 1 brand message video, 10 talking head videos. And he's like, oh, I'm interested in that. Let's go meeting.
Dude.
So we went, and he didn't have the money to buy it, but that's totally fine. He answered every one of my doubts. He's like, your price makes sense. You're worth that value. And that was so nice to hear, because I was doubting it the entire time. And he's like, because he went and searched through all my videos on social media, and that's been another thing I've been doubting, is like, are these videos actually like I know they're getting views, I know they're getting some traction, but are they actually like helping anyone? And he looked through them, and in one glance, he's like, honestly, your videos sold me. Like, I haven't seen your videos before. I honestly didn't know what you're about, but then I saw your videos, I saw the quality, and that you're also giving value out. And he's like, I see your value. And so it was 2 things I was doubting, he mentioned. And then he started saying like, then the third doubt that was in my head was like, am I doing the right thing? And so this guy I met with is I'll give his name out. I'll give him a shout out. His name is Bronson. I think he's like a business broker, but like kind of this dude like is like a business prophet. I'll say that. Like, this guy is one of those guys that can look into any industry and be like, this is probably what's going to happen in the next few years based off of trends and what's happening. And so he was telling me, he's like, you are in the hot spot right now. Like, since the pandemic, every other form of marketing has kind of gone down. Even TV commercials are not as effective as they used to be.
Yeah. Social
media is popping off, and that's going to be our future. And he's like, the fact that you're jumping in it early and you're running people's accounts as social media managing roles and also making all this content is like, you're going to start seeing a lot of results really soon. And like, all that's cool. But like, the fact that last night I was having all this doubt, and that's something like with the whole business thing, and this is why it's such a spiritual walk. And you know it from your story. I guess you forgot to mention that part, but like, it's no different than any other career, but I would say it's a little bit harder in terms of stability because it's not stable. Some months you're taking a massive leap of faith and there's no money coming in. And then some other months God is providing everything. It's like, it feels like it's a constant leap of faith always. Every month it's like, I have to find refuge in the Lord and know that he's going to provide. And it's just like, yeah, sometimes you just get so overwhelmed with doubt in your head, and it's like, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. And it's like, it builds up and it builds up until the point you're crying on a podcast. And the Lord still affirms you. He tells you when you're in the right place or not. And like sometimes, like, it's not the money that he needs to provide, like your story with Acts. Like the beggar's asking for money, but they give him a healing instead. It's like sometimes it's easy to just be asked, like, God, just give me some money this month. But sometimes, like, what you need is just a word. You know what I mean? Like, just some affirmation that, like, you're doing the right thing. Damn, I'm emotional. I'm not an emotional person, but I am. Hold on now.
You're all good.
Get it together. Get a grip, okay? So, yeah, like, it's just hard sometimes. And
man.
it's just, that's the journey. And, I've been trying to marinate. I told you this last night in small group. I've been trying to marinate. I figured out the verse. It's Proverbs 13:11, and it's like, quick money is easily gone, but, money that takes a long time to earn grows, is essentially what it says. And I've been marinating on that because it's like, this year has been amazing growth. I will never take this year back. It's been such an amazing part of my life and such a life-changing part of my life. But at times, I feel like I'm at Chick-fil-A again, where it's like I'm waiting for God to deliver and get me to where I want to be. And he still provides. And it takes time. And that's that journey, man. That's the faith journey. It's just like sanctification, sanctification, the renewing of the mind, all that takes time. Sometimes we see in forms of miracles where it just happens like that, and other times it's like, it doesn't, it takes years. And, yeah, that's my journey.
Bro,
there you go. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, dude. No, you're good. That's beautiful, bro.
That's beautiful.
I love that. I love that entire story. I love. The last part hit me.
Hit me too.
I could tell. I mean, dude, just like that. That's amazing. The fact that God has called you into a place to go full time, because you were planning on going full time. However, you were trying to do it at your own pace.
Yeah.
You were planning on doing it at this time last year. You were planning on having this much saved up and he said, no, I want you to do it now.
Yeah.
Stepping out of that and saying, I want you to go against what you'd planned.
Yeah.
And I think I know when it first happened, you were so excited because, one, you're leaving Chick-fil-A, and two, you doubled your income from what you made at Chick-fil-A.
At least the first few months I did.
The first few months, yeah.
Yeah.
And so seeing you the last few months and not seeing those results, and to now hear you say, but God is still providing, is an incredible testimony and evidence that God keeps to his word.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that God called you out and you were faithful to step out, that he remains faithful to you and says, I'm going to continue to take care of you until you get to where I'm bringing you.
That's right.
And I think that's so cool, dude. And that gives me encouragement because I'm waiting for mine too. And I need to be taken care of. I'm going to try to continue up where I think we left off. But yeah, dude, that just like, that gives me encouragement for my journey. You know what I mean? Because, as you know, I've been in the waiting season.
Yes, you
have. Of things just shifted real quick, and I'm just waiting to move on to the next thing. And
tell them that story because you forgot to mention that last week.
Okay, so thought I was going to. I mentioned Norway.
Did you?
I think so. Maybe I didn't.
I don't know if you end up getting there.
Maybe I didn't. I don't know.
Say it.
Okay, so just in case I didn't say it last week, probably didn't. But anyways, I was planning on going to. I don't think I did. I think you're right. I don't think I did mention it. Okay, so last week, I talked about my story, but there's a crucial part of. I thought I was going to Norway with this Youth with a Mission, and so Youth with a Mission, or YWAM, is just a missionary program where they build young people up and they teach them how to be missionaries and go out into the world and evangelize. So it's split up into two separate phases. So the lecture phase, which is like the schooling part, and then the outreach phase where you actually go out and do a mission trip. And so most of them are 5.5 to 6 months. This one I was going to go on was 7 months. So I had everything lined up. I had the money. I had signed up for everything. I had gone in to get my visa. I had to fly to Chicago to the embassy because Colorado is weird. Like, there were no Norwegian embassies that were like close to Colorado. They were all just like, Colorado was sitting in the middle of literally all of them. It was like a circle of embassies, and I just basically chose which one I wanted to go to.
Yeah,
I chose Chicago just because I had family there. But so I literally get everything ready to go, and I had everything ready to pack. I'm starting to say bye. We legit had 2 goodbye parties. I had one with my friends and one with my family. And so, long story short, my visa just never came through. So after this, I had to just readjust.
Can we just point out that like 2 weeks before you're supposed to go, we're at the Grizzly Rose, you and I. We're dancing. I'm not having that good of a night, honestly. And then Ethan's like starts dancing with this girl. I'm ready to dip. I'm ready to get the hell out of there.
Bro, you were ready to leave.
I was like not having it.
No.
And Ethan's like, give me 10 more minutes, bro. And I'm like, fine. So he goes, dance with her for, a solid 25 minutes. And then,
just 10 more minutes,
and then he finally comes over, and he's like, let me get her number real quick. I'm like, gets her number. And now you've been dating since, and that's cool. You'll get into that part. But it was like 2 weeks before this homie is supposed to go for
yeah.
Like, how much was it? How long were you supposed to be going?
7 months, bro.
Yeah,
crazy story. Okay. Crazy story. I go in to the Grizzly Rose that night with my cousin and with Ian, just planning on having a good night. I think that was the last time I was planning on going before I was supposed to leave. And so I was just like, I'm just going to hang out. I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to do all the line dances, and we're going to have a good time. So Ian and I run into our buddy Zach there, and just a guy that we met at a few weeks ago, the last time we went. And he's a fun guy, fun, energetic dude. Love that guy. And we, there was this girl that was with him because they had gone in their friend group, and I thought she was really pretty. And
I hope so.
She's not like she's in the other room or anything right now. But no, so her name's Kaylee, and we just started talking, and I asked her to dance because there is like this one, it was like a movie, okay? There was a song, slow country song came on, and
he's dancing while the friend is in the background. Like,
yeah, bro, no, for real. And so everyone just like couldn't, for whatever reason, no one was in sync with this one. So I was just like, you know what, screw it. I was like, do you just want to dance? I was like, I want to dance with you. She was like, okay. And so we started dancing, and we hung out the rest of the night, talked. Everything was flowing so nicely. I like how you're blocking your little gulp. Yeah. I like that. Anyways, I leave that night, and I'm like, I get her number, and I'm like, very straightforward with her. I want to make that clear. I wasn't like, let's go out on a date, and I'm not gonna tell her like all this. Before we went on a date, I told her, I was like, hey, I'm leaving for Norway in 7 months. However, I would still really like
in 2 weeks. You mean?
You were leaving for Norway for 7 months. Thank you.
No worries.
So, but I was like, I would still really want to get to know you. I think you're really amazing, and I want to get to know you. And so she was like, yeah. So took her on a date. We went to the fair. There was a concert.
Straight out of the 50s.
Bro, for real. Jordan Davis was playing. So we go to the concert as well as the fair. And after we left, we were having such a good time. I was like, hey, like, can I take you somewhere? And she was like, yeah, sure. So there's this spot like behind the airport that I like to go to. And so you can park right up against the fence. And when the airplanes come to land, they like go directly over you. So cool. So I take her to that spot and we're sitting on the sunroof while we're listening to music. And then the security guard from the airport like pulls up and he's just staring at it. Like he doesn't get out of his car. He doesn't say anything. He just sits in his car and we're like, okay, like we should just probably go. This is kind of awkward. So we leave and I take her to another spot, which is like a parking lot by where I used to live. And I just rolled down the windows. I turned up the radio. And I was like, hey, like, do you want to dance? And so we started dancing in the parking lot at like 1 a.m. And then we just like, we did that and we talked for like an hour. And then I take her home and I was going home and I literally thought to myself, I was like, uh-oh. I was like,
that
ouch.
went too good.
Yeah, that went way too well. That went better than I expected. But I went into that date and I was like praying. I was like, God, if there's something here, like, then let it be. I was like, I understand I'm leaving in 2 weeks, but I just want to have a fun night. I just want to get to know this girl without really any like major long-term expectations. And so for those 2 weeks, we continued hanging out, continued going on dates, and I just never got my visa.
Never came in? It still hasn't come in.
It still hasn't come in. I'm literally still getting emails. I got an email last week saying, still waiting to be processed.
Bruh.
It is backed up so badly.
Bruh.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and well, and that YWAM was basically like you could show up to a monthly, right?
Yeah. So that was the worst part, actually.
Yes.
So when I had my flights and everything booked, and so when I was supposed to leave, I didn't have my visa that day. So obviously I could technically go. However, I wouldn't be able to stay in the country for over 30 days. So I wouldn't be able to stay for the entirety portion of the lecture phase. And they didn't want me to do that. So they were like, you have basically a month of a leeway period of where you could, if you get the visa within that, you can come. However, if you don't get it within that time period, you either don't come at all or you come next year. And so that entire month I didn't work because I didn't want to get a job and then have to dip. And so I did like a few side jobs. I did some electrical stuff for some people at church, but that's about it. And so it was just a waiting game. So I was just trying to hang out with some friends still, hang out with Kaylee a lot. And we were just kind of trying to talk about like what's going to happen if I do end up leaving. Mm-hmm. Like what's it going to look like? And so looking back at it now, we've talked about it and it was like, definitely if it was the 2 week period, we probably wouldn't have made it. If it was the month period of where we got that little extra time together, possibly. But yeah, so I just never got it in that month. And so after that, I pretty much have just been readjusting. So pretty much as soon as I found out, I moved in with Ian and Dante. Amazing blessing. I've loved it. I've loved living here. And then I just started job searching, trying to figure out what I want to do, trying to figure out next steps for ministry, because that's my goal. I want to get into ministry. I want to be a pastor. And so I was just trying to figure out ways to do that. And none of those just really worked out. And so right now I'm looking for, I was working like part-time seasonal job at Dick's Sporting Goods. And since the season's over, I got to move on. And I got to find, because I'm just not getting enough hours there. So I got to looking for another job right now. So lots of change, lots of readjusting, but it's been good. And yeah, and with the Kaylee thing, we're doing great. Both of us love Jesus and we love each other. And we've been going 6 months strong. And it's been a blast. I've never felt this way about anyone in my life before. So it's been awesome.
It's been miserable. Worst 6 months of my life. Just kidding.
She took away my friend.
I had to share him now.
I have to share him now. But yeah, so it's been the best year of my life, but also the hardest year of my life. And I feel you there, brother. God continues to provide. I mean, that's how I feel. I feel like I was struggling a lot, and he added things into my life and took some things away that I didn't need, but he added some things that really helped me out, Kaylee being one of them, and just also moving into this place. I think this place has honestly been the biggest help.
Yep.
Moving into a healthier place, living with two of my best friends, and just doing life with each other on a closer note, more than just like living with each other now and doing that with each other. So, and Dante too, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, dude. So I feel you there. Like, it's cool to look back and like, cause for me, I thought God was saying, go to Norway. And clearly that wasn't it. And so to see God still provide for me even after that has been cool. Of like, regardless, I think his promise isn't necessarily what he tells us to go and do, that he's going to make that work out. Like for your business, like that's working out right now. Like he's guiding you through that. For me, it was for Norway, but he didn't bring that through. I think the promise isn't he's going to make everything work out. Or whatever he's calling you into, he's not going to make it work out long term. Either whether it's a season or not at all, or it's a long time. The promise is that he's always going to love you. He's always going to provide for you, and he's always going to be there for you, and he's always going to look after you. And I think that's so cool because mine didn't work out, and he's still looking after me. And there have been days where I've really struggled and I've been pulled away from God, and he continues to call me back to him. And it's I'm growing closer to him than I've ever been before. It's becoming more intimate. I think I love these seasons. I love these seasons of trial and tribulation because it really shows God's character for you personally.
Totally.
And how he provides for you.
You find the most growth in him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because he just shows up for you, and he gives you peace. He gives you love. He gives you grace. He gives you everything that you need. And I think the coolest thing is it turns from what is kind of more derived from like happier feelings, like joyful feelings, and the Jesus high. It goes from that to an actual intimate relationship, and a relationship that is built off of trust, tribulation and trials, and you go through things together.
Yep.
Just like you and your friends, everyone, and from Hogan and on, like, and even with Dante, like, you guys have gone through things together, struggles together, and you guys supported one another. You picked them up when they were struggling, and they picked you up when you were struggling. And I think it's the same thing with Jesus, of like, when you timed is a certain thing where he makes the relationship more intimate in that way, because now when you're struggling, he shows up time and time again, and he proves that he's going to be there. To where like the words that are written in the Bible aren't just words written in the Bible. It's you read it and you're like, that applies. I can say that with confidence that he does that.
Yeah.
And I think that's honestly, like, I think that's the coolest part about the 20s is because the 20s are so sporadic, and they're
just like our brains on this podcast episode.
For real. Yeah.
Scattered brained.
For real, bro.
Jumping all over the place.
I love it though.
If you're following along and you made it this point in the podcast, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. But yeah, dude, I just that's why I love the 20s. I'm excited for the 20s. I'm excited to see the result. I love the journey the most, obviously. Journey is the best part. Because without the journey, there would be no result.
That's right.
But I'm excited to see the result as well, too.
That's right.
To see who we are at the end of our 20s, to see who you guys become after your 20s, to see where things go with your business, to see where I end up, to see even just where you end up, you know what I mean? To see where Kaylee and I end up. I'm just super, super excited, super hopeful, and God willing, just like he'll bring us, I mean, I know he's going to bring us exactly where we need to be.
Yep.
So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, just to finish it off with Psalm 23 again. It's like, I think prosperity. I think people can confuse, especially in America, kind of like how you said in small group last night. But like, prosperity does not, like, in America we think of it as like money or like comfort, or material objects. But like, kind of like with your story last week with the Honduras trip. It's like, for those people, the people in third world countries that are happy, they're extremely happy, and their prosperity isn't the pound of rice that you give them, although that does bring great joy. I think prosperity, when we talk about prosperity, it's Jesus is the prosperity. He's the one that brings that joy. When you are in the darkest seasons of your life, he's the one that brings that comfort and that peace. When you're in those darkest valleys, the reason, any of us through tribulation are able to say, he still got me. Like, if you look at any of the Psalms, not just Psalm 23, especially David's Psalms, there's many times he's crying to the Lord, God, save me from my enemies, protect me, or deliver me, or, he's asking God for things in his suffering. But always at the end of his Psalms are, like, Lord, you are my refuge. You are my protector, my provider, my deliverer, and that, I think, is that prosperity that you get. Like never did the Bible, or never did Jesus, or never did God ever promise us that we would have a perfect, nice life here on earth.
Actually,
except for heaven.
He said the exact opposite.
Exact opposite, right? Like in Romans 12, I'm pretty sure that one's correct. Romans 12, it talks about the hope, or like, through great suffering, find hope, because it builds your character, it strengthens your character, and something like that. I'm pretty sure that's Romans 12. It will be on the screen if you're watching. But yeah, Psalm 23. It's beautiful, because it's like, it makes you lie down in the green pastures. He makes you lie down, and he takes you by the quiet waters. He also takes you through the darkest valleys, but his rod and his staff comfort you. And the entire thing of Psalm 23 is that he's your shepherd. And we're dumb sheep that run around and get lost, and we don't want to lay down in the green pastures sometimes. And anyways, with all that said, it's a journey, and it's an awesome journey, like you said. I think we should wrap it up there.
I love it, dude. Thank you for your story.
Sure.
And not just that, but your obedience to God and your journey.
Vice versa.
And thank you for sharing it.
Sure.
I mean,
didn't expect to get emotional there.
I know.
I'm so sorry for anyone listening.
No, don't apologize, dude. I think, actually, this is gonna sound weird. I love that happened, because for me, I know you're not an emotional person. Everyone out there watching, he's not an emotional person.
I may now look like it. First episode, Ian.
but I think that just shows what God has done for you and how deep it is. You know what I mean? How hard it's been for you, but to see God still come through for you and how much that means to you.
Yeah.
I think there's power behind that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about that.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's kind.
So
yeah, I'm just a great actor. And that. No. Well, guys, so next week, hopefully we'll have more structure. It's going to be a little bit less scatterbrained. We still want the organic conversations about random things.
Of course.
We're still going for that, but it's going to be centered around a particular topic. And so I feel like I have a really good experience, and also just good advice for people, especially young adults trying to figure out what their career path looks like. I feel like I've been able to help and mentor some people and actually give solid advice here. We're going to introduce the primary aim next week as well.
Sweet.
But I also really want to try to bring in, actually study, what does the Bible say about careers a little bit, and kind of just find some verses and maybe look into that a little bit. So then we have just something, maybe what does God say about this stuff, and how can we let God lead our decisions when it comes to making our career rather than our own selfish ambitions.
100%.
And that's something I've got the pleasure to experience is and you too, right? Especially your story of we thought God was leading us to something, and then because we're obedient to God, he completely changed the courses of where we were going for the better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyways, that's next week.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us for the second episode
Yep.
of the Faith Creative Podcast. We're glad you're here. We hope you come back next week. And yeah, we love you guys.
God, that was lame. That sucked. Gosh.
Terrible.
Why do we do this?